I am your host, Leah Dunlap, and you are listening to the Oracle on Purpose podcast, where we help intentional leaders clarify their purpose and next steps to create a work and life of significance. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. This is Oracle on Purpose, and I'm Leah Dunlap, your host. I am extra thrilled today for our new guest today on today's show. But before we dive into all of that, I want to share that this is a guest that has been on my mind for several years, not because of all the things that most people see him for, but because of a conversation we had at an event right before COVID hit. And the reason it matters to me and the reason that you're here, of course, listening to the Oracle on Purpose podcast is because we're talking about just that. What our purpose is, why we're here in the world, what kind of difference we're here and meant to make. And that's what struck me about my next guest. It wasn't all of the amazing and wonderful things I'm about to tell you he has done. It's who he was as a person when I met him in person. And I realized this is what really ultimately living your life on purpose looks like. It's coming from the core of who you are. He is not only the most genuine, real person I've met in a long time, but he has a life that most people would definitely envy. That's right. This guest today is Zach Benson. And what I love about what Zach is up to, aside from the fact that he has been to Greece and Bali and Maldives and Koh Samui, which I love Thailand, so I'm excited about that. And talk about that a little bit with him as well. But Zach is the founder of the Assistagram, a company that empowers influencers and Fortune 500 companies to connect with real followers in their target audience. Dubbed the influencer's secret weapon by Entrepreneur Magazine, Zach has helped influencers such as Les Brown, Yannick Silver, Russell Brunson, and much more cut through the noise to accrue millions of new followers on social media. Throughout his career, Zach has shared stages with powerhouse speakers such as Tony Robbins, Sylvester Stallone, Grant Cardone, Damon John, and Gary Vee, sharing his expertise on social media and growth. So as I said, he's got tons of experience. He's got great knowledge. I'm sure that he'll impart with us and on us in a moment. But one of the cool things that I always ask my clients when they come, or my guests when they come on the show, is, what is their purpose? What are they trying to do? What's their big hope or intention or vision for what they do in the world? And that piece of information, that was the one piece that I knew that I would love to share with all of you, which is to make life better for others. That was his answer, to make life better for others. And we have a few of some similarities, which kind of got us talking at that event. One, of course, is that we're both adopted. And I love that because there is something in that community that only adopted kids know, like what it's like to grow up as an adopted child and how that shapes who we are and how we show up in the world. But again, as I said, I'm excited to welcome Zach. Zach, welcome so much to the show. I'm so excited to have you here. Why don't you fill us in a little bit on your latest adventures and where you are today with everything Assistagram, and also with your travels. I know that you've been traveling a lot lately. Give us a heads up.
Yes. Wow. Thank you so much for the kind words, Leah. It's really great to be here and excited to talk to you guys and share a little bit about my story and everything that's going on. So right now I'm actually in the basement of my parents' house in good old Iowa. So I'm back here visiting family, friends for a few months, kind of traveling all over the states, LA, New York, Florida. Got a lot of travels coming up. But I'm here today in Iowa, and yeah, it's good to be here. And life has been good. Life has been a lot different because this past year, with everything that's happened, I've been kind of stuck in Korea, which also has been a great blessing because I've been able to spend a lot of amazing time with my birth mother and my Korean family over there. And so that's been really fun. And yeah, I'm excited to be here.
I remember seeing something post up about that, and it was such a beautiful and poignant trip. The pictures you sent, and as a fellow adoptee, I know that that's a big part of our lives when we're growing up. And I know that people here, when my clients are watching, listening to this, my viewers are watching, we're talking about like what shaped our journey towards kind of finding our purpose and delivering that in the world. But a big part of that is our own personal journey of who we are and where we come from. So I know as adoptees that can often have an extra layer. So what brought you to that decision to go and search for your birth mother?
Yeah, life is precious. Life is a gift, and I'm very grateful to have this life, to have a loving family here in Iowa, to have a loving birth mother to, sacrifice me so that I could have a better life and grow up here and be free to choose and decide what I want to do with my life and my future. So life is like really, really good. And, I think it was just when I was volunteering in 2009 in Atlanta, Georgia, living on $2 a day for food, helping refugees find jobs and homes for a year, when I met this North Korean refugee. And this North Korean refugee was like, you really should go back to Korea and learn about your roots and meet your mom. And that's what inspired me to go back and to find her was that. And then also, second reason was just my parents in Iowa. They've always supported me all throughout my life. And they thought it would be a great idea as well to go back and learn about the culture and to build a relationship with my family and, uh, yeah, go back to the
Yeah,
motherland.
your parents sound incredible. I know that you've mentioned before in some of the research that I did that it wasn't the easiest childhood, and that you were kind of a disruptor or seen as a disruptor, but that your parents always seemed to be there to support you in like kind of fulfilling what was really important to you. Like when you left college to go off and work, live off of $2 a day, most parents would be a little bit concerned. And it sounds like that's something that's been really there for you most of your life, is that kind of consistent support. Do you feel that having that base, like you are now, at home base, has really made it impossible for you to kind of reach out and stretch and lean into kind of some of those leaps of faith you've taken along the way?
Yeah, 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 for sure. I would say like, after graduating from college 2008, wow, it's been almost so long. I made a 5-year plan, right? And I was like, I want to do this. I want to find my birth mother. I want to live on less so others can have more. I want to, use my college major because my parents were like, when are you going to use your college major? Uh, and then, but yeah, I grew up in a household where, like, again, my family was supportive, but even though they were super supportive and loving and caring, like, there's times in my life where I just had to take that leap of faith and I had to take a big risk, even when I had my family and friends and some of my closest mentors say, no, I don't think that's the best, that's the greatest idea. And it was in those moments where I was just like, I had to stay, stick to my guns
Mm.
and just go for it, right? And sometimes I'd take that leap and I'd fall and I'd hurt, I'd like, not reach the level or the place that I wanted to get. But I just kept on picking myself up, moving forward, going forward, and eventually I made it. And I think that's the key, really.
Right. I
Is
know you were quoted as saying when you really go for your dreams, you're gonna have doubters and haters and people that
yes,
you are close say things and try to stop you from going for it and shutting you down. Listen to them respectfully, but don't let their negative words stop you from going for it. Do you feel like that's really kind of what you lean on when you make those decisions that maybe are kind of somewhat against the grain of the people you're around or the people that have been supporting you for so long?
yes, yes. Like I think, well, I've always been a doer, right? It's just I see things and I'm an action taker, so I see
Mm.
things I want to do and I just do them, and that can be kind of good and bad. So I've had to kind of balance it out as I've grown. But I think the biggest risk is just not taking one, right? And just not doing it and taking a chance. So
Yeah.
I'd rather just do it and see what happens and try to make the most of it and kind of pivot and be flexible as I'm trying to accomplish this and smash this goal. So at the same time, you got to have that belief, that inner desire, that faith
Mhm.
that no matter what happens, you're just going to keep pushing forward and keep going for it. And at the same time, you got to learn how to listen and slow down so that you can go faster and hit your goals faster. And that's by listening to others and their advice.
Right. I do like that piece where it's like you have to listen to it, but I think ultimately, as I'm hearing you say this, there's a part of you that resonates with whether or not listening and following through, even if, as you said, that there might be some sort of failure or I don't like to call it failure, some feedback that says it wasn't particularly the right way to go. That you're going to learn something from that travel, that change, that shift in direction, whether or not it was aligned with something else someone told you to do. Do you think that's the case? Do you think that you've learned something kind of even from those mistakes?
Yeah, and like another mentor is like, in his experience, the people that make the most mistakes and actually learn from them grow the fastest. So I think we've all made a lot of mistakes, but now it's like time is precious, time is short. It's like we only have so much time. It's being more smarter and strategic with your time and investing your time and energy wisely every moment of the day, because we only have a little bit of it and we have to make the most of it. So now that I'm a little bit older, right? Like I'm trying to listen to more audiobooks, more mentors, and that helps me save time off my learning curve, so I don't have to make the same mistakes that they did, and I can just go up faster.
Yeah,
So
that's a great
I
point.
think it's a fine balance.
It definitely is. And I think you're right. Age helps to kind of soften that and slow us down to kind of look at when we get closer to moving closer to whatever the other side of this is, it starts to make us realize how precious life is. And I'm sure that as everyone's listening to this now where we're recording, we've just come out of, as you said, you were kind of not stuck. I guess you were in Korea for a while and we had a lot of travel restrictions because of COVID and things like that. So I think that we as a whole have kind of looked at our lives. It's forced most people, I think, to kind of look at their lives a little differently and take stock of where they are and where they're going. Do you, you mentioned something interesting to me, so I want to kind of reach back and touch that, which is, you are listening and reading and kind of tapping into new mentors. And so I know people are like, who are following you are probably watching this and thinking, okay, great. What's Zach reading today? So what's the top of your list or the most recent book perhaps, or person that you've been following that's really kind of piqued your interest or inspired you?
Yeah, she was actually at the Broadcaster Authority Live,
Awesome.
Allison Maslin. Yeah, Scale or
Fantastic.
Fail. Yeah,
Yeah.
she wrote this
Okay.
book, Scale or Fail, and it's a really great book. It's all about just, I mean, you'll have to read it, but it's helping me just figure out like who to put in the right places,
Mm,
and also to grow and scale my business so I can continue to live this lifestyle and work from anywhere for many, many years to come. So it's all about building a business that's going to be built to last
right.
forever, like the long haul, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's really important nowadays because we see a lot of fads or things, and it's like we have this mentality where it's like we just want to go to like whatever is like hot and try to invest a little bit of money and hope it works out. But I think it's really, we should be wise with your time, energy, and money and resources, and just put it into a business and scale and grow that business so that it can be around for 20, 30 plus years.
Right. I think that's a good point in that the longevity aspect of any business really is, can you reach a point where your business is running without you, which a lot of my listeners are probably in that stage of like they think of scaling and they think of it's either overwhelmed, right? Like I'm thinking like how do I even do it? But ultimately, as you said, it really is about how you can create something you've grown that then outgrows you, right? Like you're not necessarily the one running all of the things or doing all of the things, but that the core of who and what you have to offer the world is being shared through your business without you having to have your hands on. Does that sound about right?
Yes, and also like traveling has been my biggest teacher. So I've
Mm.
been traveling like nonstop. I mean, almost just for the past like 15 years. I mean, really hardcore, like just another country, another culture every single week for the past 4 years. But I feel like you can learn something from anybody. It doesn't matter if they're super successful, or they're like on TV, or like, on the Shark Tank, or like, someone who's just a normal person that you meet in a cafe, or that's working selling things on the street. Like, you can always learn something from somebody. And I think it's just being open, being present, and being uh, aware of like what's
Mm.
going on around you, and also letting and getting rid of your ego, and just striking up conversations wherever you are with random people, and just asking them, expressing them an interest in their lives, and being open to learn from them. So it's cool because yeah, that's
Yeah, I
how
know. I
I
can see you
come
going
up
through
with
your
some of
mind. Do
these.
you have a story in which you were like kind of surprised when you chalk up a conversation with someone and find some real juicy piece of wisdom from someone that maybe other people, like you said, would just pass by?
Yeah, I mean, it could be something just like, on the plane, or like in Uber, and just, asking them questions about their life, like where are they from, or like how did they end up here, or like
Mm.
what's going on in your life. And they just start to talk. And I think it's just letting them talk, but then, learning from them.
Hmm.
And as you listen to them, you like different thoughts come to your mind. And I always just write those thoughts down on my phone, and it helps me like, helps me learn. And
What do you think? I know you, of course, you said you met with your birth mother. What do you think when you walked away from that experience? What was the thought for you? Was it completion? Was it like did something lock in about who you are and what you're meant to do when you walked away from that
yeah,
experience?
yeah. That's a great question. I mean, for me, it was awesome because like I could finally say that I've met my mom, and I thought it was just going to be like a checklist, so something that I crossed off, a goal that I hit. But it wasn't like that, because she's a person, she's a human being, and
Yeah.
people are more important than things, and you can't just be efficient with people. You can't just cross them off the list. What I realized is that this is just the beginning. This is the beginning, and I have to put a lot of work into it, a lot of
Mm.
time, energy. I have to be there. We have to, spend time with each other. And only through that time and that energy will we create a genuine relationship. So, first part was amazing, right? Finding her. But then the hard part is always building a genuine relationship that's built to last with someone. Uh,
Yeah. Well, I think that's a
yeah.
part of what you speak to in general about like in Assistagram, right? It's about building the relationship. It's not about just a quick connection, but a deeper connection to the people we serve. Are you in the midst? We talked a moment ago, or I shared a moment ago that I know you've done some incredible retreats, or at least from what I've seen. I haven't had the opportunity to go to any of those, but I've watched from afar on Instagram and Facebook some of those incredible deep connection retreats. Do you find that that's the reason you do it, is so that you can have that experience with the people you serve?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to me, it's like life is all about people, and it's exploring the world with new friends, meeting new friends in these countries that we travel to, and figuring out, creative ways to help each other grow personally, and also in our business. So I think that, I mean, these retreats are awesome because you get to know people on a deeper level, and really get to know like what matters and what's important, and to their soul and their spirits, and how to make them, it's all about just helping other become more alive, and to uh, feel more alive, right? And I think that the more people that we have like on our side, and the more people that we know, our network grows,
Mm.
and they can connect you with someone that might need your services, or vice versa, where they can give you an idea, that can help you go next level with your business. So I really like these retreats because we get to create awesome memories together and, figure out ways to help each other.
Right. I think memories like that, they do connect us to our vision, right? Like I think that that's kind of one of those touchstones, which is why for myself, even as I do my own international retreats, it is the presence of being among fellow leaders and entrepreneurs, but it's also those moments we connect because we're together, because we're relaxed. Like you said, we're in these environments that really allow us to feel relaxed and alive and connected to everything. We get to really do kind of like a kinesthetic anchor to what really matters, not only the people we work with, but our vision for what we want to create in the world. So I'm curious, I know that for you, it's about, um, making a difference is about those connections. If I were to ask you, which I am about to, what would you say in your travels and your experience so far that you would anchor to as your personal and or unique life purpose? What would that be? Do you have a sense of like, this is what I'm here to do, period?
Yeah, I think like that's the journey. Like that's what everybody's like searching for. And I think like we have different seasons and periods and times in our life where it's like, where I felt like I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and it feels really, really good. There's other times where I'm like I feel a little bit lost and confused about like the next step. And so pretty much like through all of my life I've always made like a 5-year plan, and that's been helpful um to kind of have give myself direction and to have these different things and experiences that I want to do to um help grow myself, personally, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And so that's kind of been good. But also, there's times where I'm just like, am I really doing what I'm supposed to be doing and what God put me on this earth here for? And sometimes I'm not sure, but like I'm aware of that, and I think I'm at a point in my life now where it's like I'm trying to find my ultimate vision, my ultimate passion that's bigger than what I'm seeing now. So it's going to take a lot of deep, journaling, reflection, mentors, and I
Right.
guess travels to figure that out. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's where I'm at
still
now.
still a journey and process. I love it. That's something that with my clients we spend like most of our original time with is just that
Mhm.
question, because as you said,
Yes.
when I work with clients that are really super successful and they've kind of gone on a plan or a path for so long, they can find, as you said, that there are days when they're still questioning whether it's enough or if there's still something there. And I think that that's the beauty of having a clear sense of purpose, but it's also always still part of the journey that we have as we're here creating our lives and our businesses, is how do we incorporate those things that really have us deliver and show up in a way that is authentic and real and fills us up as we fill up the world. So I am so grateful that you took the time to share some of your amazing knowledge. I can't let you go without asking you to share with the audience, like, here you are, here's the platform. What is the one thing right now that you would say to them about showing up and making connections in the world, in the internet world, which is, right now, most people's primary way of connecting? What's that one last piece of Zach Benson advice that you leave them with today?
Yeah, the world is beautiful, and we have the opportunity to show people and inspire people anything that we want to show on social media, like Instagram, Facebook. Everybody is waking up to that and our phones and scrolling and consuming content. So I just encourage you guys to not be afraid of just putting yourself out there and put out some content that um, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not super polished, if you're feeling something in your heart or something's on your mind and you want to talk about it and share, just share it and put it out there. And I'm sure like you'll get a positive response. So
You heard it here from Zach himself. Just share it, whether it's perfect or not. I think that's a big one. How can people make sure they stay connected with you? What's their best connection to Zach Benson out there in the world?
Yeah, well, I'd love to stay connected with you guys, and you can connect with me on Instagram. My Instagram is Zach Vacay, and Zach Benson is my name, so you can find me on Facebook and reach out. Would love to hear your story and ways that we can help each other.
Thank you so much, Zach. I'm so glad you're here. Definitely keep your eye on Zach's Instagram. It's not only inspiring, but it is delicious. That's the word I'm going to use. Looking at your pictures on Instagram, I know he just said you don't have to be perfect, but I'm telling you, if you want to take a vacay from your daily work, hop over to Zach's Instagram and you'll be whisked away to beautiful places and wonderful people doing amazing things. Thank you again so much for being here, Zach. I appreciate you and I appreciate what you're doing in the world and that you're just here in the world. I think you're an amazing person and I'm so glad you took the time out to share and talk with us today.
Yeah, I got you. Love what you're doing. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. All right, everyone. I'm Leah Dunlap, the Oracle on Purpose, and this is the Oracle on Purpose podcast, where we help intentional leaders find and follow their purpose. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Oracle on Purpose show. If you found value in this episode, we'd appreciate you leaving a comment. Also, you can subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't yet. If you'd like to get clear on your highest vision and next steps, go to oracleonpurpose.com. See you next week.